Well, good morning and happy 2024 to each of you. Welcome to the Houston Minority Business Development Agency's virtual Subs and Sandwiches webinar. Today, we have our corporate partners from Manhattan Construction presenting, and we're excited to hear what they have to offer. I am Marchette Turner Ray, and I serve as the proud director of the Houston MBDA. Our Subs and Sandwiches is one of our signature programs, and we are always eager to inform you about opportunities that await you. And of course, we hope you're taking advantage of those opportunities as they're presented to you. Before we jump into our presentation this morning, you should know that during today's webinar, all attendees will be in listen-only mode. There will be Q&A at the end of the session where my team and I will be asking Manhattan the questions that you, our audience, type into the chat. Please note that this presentation is being recorded and will be made available to all registered participants. Please help me virtually celebrate a couple of my MBDA team members, Ms. Jessica Vasquez, who serves as our program coordinator, and Ms. Deidre Sutton, who serves as one of our business advisors. Let us now hear from Mr. Andrew Halfin, who is the Director of Pre-Construction at Manhattan here in Houston. He has 15 years of pre-construction experience, 8 of which have been with Manhattan. He has worked on notable projects such as Minute Maid Park, Centerfield Improvements, A-Leaf Neighborhood Center, Texas A&M football projects, Texas Ranger Stadium, also known as Globe Life Field, and most recently, leading the pre-construction efforts on the United Terminal B project, which is a $1.4 billion project for Manhattan, which is part of an overall $2.5 billion program. So again, let me welcome Mr. Andrew Halfin. Andrew?
All right, Marcia, thanks for having us here this morning. We'll go ahead and to the next slide. We're going to talk to you a little bit about Manhattan, give you a brief history about how we ended up in this town, a little bit about us, talk to you about our pretty large pre-construction team these days. We've been growing quite a bit lately. We're also going to talk about the general process of bidding with us, pre-qualification, and go through a number of our current projects along with some of the things in the pipeline. Slide. All right, so here in Houston, we're led by Jason Fuller. He's our vice president. We also are lucky to have here in Houston a corporate vice president. That's Raylena Browning. She leads pre-construction efforts for Manhattan across the company. So if you ever see Raylena out and about, she represents pre-con nationally for us. You have myself, the director of pre-construction here in Houston. We have Lael Ellis, who is also on the call. She's our director of community relations and inclusion, and she supports us here in Houston quite a bit. But she also supports our other regions as needed. We also have Julie Fowler. She's a senior design manager. She's working with Paul Bain, who's our pre-con manager for Houston, on a couple projects right now. So we're going to talk about it a little bit further on, but one of the important ways to think about Manhattan is I'm handling everything related to our airport projects with United, and Paul is handling the Houston office and supporting our other various projects across the region. Also a part of our team, we have Alex Kenny. He's a pre-construction manager. We have Joe Hernandez as a senior estimator. John Rhodes is a senior estimator. Antonio Martinez is an estimator. Abril Cantu is an estimator. We got Dane Guerrera as an estimator. And then we have our 2 awesome contract administrators. Melissa Boyd, been with us for quite a few years now. If you've ever gotten a contract from us here at Manhattan, it likely came from Melissa Boyd. So she's a very important person to be friends with and know who she is. We also have Marcia Davis. She's a recent hire and an important part of our contracts team here at the airport. All right, slide. So just a little bit about Manhattan. We were founded in 1896 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's a couple different stories about how we got the name Manhattan Construction. I'll just leave it at the fact that we do not do any work in New York City. We're a general contractor, focused on a couple different markets. Obviously, the home base is Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. We also have offices in DC, Atlanta, Florida, and supporting a couple different regions. So we're a fifth generation family owned company. It's great to be part of a true family owned company. We're not a publicly traded firm. We don't report to, some German multinational corporation or something like that. And then, something that's really important to us here in Houston is that we've been here in town since 1942. So we have a strong track record of projects going back to, building the Bentov Hospital, numerous really, cool projects over the years, particularly down in the Med Center. We built Reliant Stadium. We've really been a part of some major projects, over the years here in Houston. Slide. So talking a little bit about our sectors here in Houston, we're involved with educational construction. A lot of that educational construction is higher ed. We have done a number of K-12 projects over the years. Oftentimes when we're playing in that space, you might see us looking at a large sports project, maybe a district stadium or something like that. That's really where we play in that education space. But higher education definitely related to universities like Texas A&M and U of H. We're fairly active in those markets. Aviation and aerospace, that's a big part of our business these days. That picture on the screen is a United maintenance hangar that we built for them a couple years ago. It can hold, I think, 3 wide body planes in it. It's a giant, big old hangar where they can take care of their aircraft. And obviously, we're working on a large program for them right now. Corporate commercial, strong part of our history. As I'm sure a lot of you know here in town, there's not a ton of new office buildings getting constructed, but we are working on some commercial projects, particularly with some clients like Shell Energy. So they're a great partner of ours, and we're doing mainly interior work for them, working on their energy center campus out west of town. Healthcare is an important market for us. Paul will talk to you a little bit more later on about MD Anderson. And then sports, this is something we're very well known for, whether it be Reliant Stadium or the Cowboys Stadium or Rangers or Kyle Field up at A&M, the U of H football stadium. These are all really cool projects that we've been a part of. But it is always important to know, we're more than just a stadium builder at the end of the day. Those projects come along every few years. They get a lot of press, they get a lot of publicity, but we're busy building stuff all the other years when those projects aren't going. And last but not least, government projects. So here in Houston, going back to the 40s and 50s, we have been working for Harris County and the city of Houston. We have strong track records on the municipal level and on the city level of doing projects for both entities, and it's a really important part of our business, here in town. Slide. So this next one, just talking a little bit about, how we get to our participation levels. And, one of the things, being a contractor that does a lot of government work, we often have participation, goals or requirements on projects. And these are just a couple examples on the screen of some recent projects we've had where we've been able to, exceed our goals. So, you take a project like the A-Leaf Neighborhood Center, that's a landmark project over in A-Leaf for the city of Houston. If you haven't been by there, that thing is amazing. We were able to hit 32% participation. You have projects like Southwest Police Station, we were able to hit the goals, New C North, able to hit the goals. So really, the only way we do that is through, strong subcontractor relationships. And those relationships are built upon, meetings like this. So if we don't know about you, it's hard to include you. And so that's why we really value, organizations like this that give us the opportunity to speak and meet people. Next slide. So bidding with us, when you bid projects with Manhattan, it's really important to understand the delivery method. But before I get to that, let me just say that every project that we solicit bids on, those bids are solicited through Building Connected. Building Connected is a website. It is of no cost at the entry level. You can, as a subcontractor, pay for some premium features, but when you're seeing invitations to bid from Manhattan, those don't cost you anything to access them through Building Connected. So I'm going to make sure if you hear anything from me today, it's to make sure your Building Connected profile is set up and that you are set up within Building Connected to receive bids and they aren't going to your spam account. Or I can't tell you how many people I've talked to where, they got set up in Building Connected and then they don't receive invites from us because their spam filter is filtering it out. So that's where all of our solicitations come from. The next thing that I want to be clear about is when we are soliciting on projects, it's really important to know how that project is being solicited. So there's two main ways we solicit projects. One is the lump sum delivery method, and then the other is CMAR, which is Construction Manager at Risk. And then kind of within that same CMAR perspective, I would also include design build. But the easy way to think about it is if you are receiving an invitation to bid from us here at Manhattan, and you also received one from, let's say, Vaughn or Lindbeck or Clark or 3 or 4 other general contractors, then that's going to be a lump sum bid. And when we're doing lump sum bids, there is no bid form. You just send us your proposal. And we like to see those, uploaded to Building Connected. That way we can have them. Anytime that we are the contractor for the project and the owner has hired us, that's typically CMAR or design build, we do our bidding a little bit differently. The only thing that changes for y'all is that the bids, while they are submitted via Building Connected, we also have bid forms inside of Building Connected that need to get filled out. And then the selection process is a little bit different on CMAR and design build, and it often includes, post-bid interviews. The other thing I'll say with bidding with us, especially if it's your first time bidding with Manhattan or you're newer to bidding, larger or commercial projects, I would say definitely ask for feedback. And I will caveat that with, if it is the week of a bid or 3 days after a bid, it might be hard for us to provide great feedback. But if you give us maybe a week or two after the bid, reach out to Paul, myself, or better yet, the estimator that was taking bids on that package, reach out to them directly and they can provide some general feedback. So I'll give you an example of, general feedback. we might say something along the lines of, "You're in the hunt, and I can't say more." So that means your pricing was likely competitive. It's in the low couple bids, and we're going to have some follow-up questions, scoping, and getting more information. We might say something along the lines of, sorry, it's not going to work out on this project. Reach back out to me in a couple weeks, and I can give you some more detailed feedback. Or we might, if it's a lump sum bid and we were not awarded it, we might tell you, hey, we got 4 bids on this one. You were middle of the pack. I'd recommend you reach out to general contractor X or Y, who may have been selected on that project. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Boyd. She's going to talk to you a little bit about our pre-qualification process.
Good afternoon or good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So once you have determined that you want to bid with Manhattan, the way that you can do so, there's a couple of different ways. So on anything other than the airport, I'll start with the airport where you can see Marcia's picture. They've come up with a QR code that you can use, select, and it'll take you straight into what you need to do to submit bids on that project. Anything else that we're bidding, or if you just want to get, into where you can start bidding with Manhattan, go to our webpage for Manhattan Construction Group. And there is, under the pre-construction tab, there's a place to go in and you can select that, and it will give you an opportunity to bid whatever region that you wish. You can do them all if you want, or you can just bid one particular region. But it'll take you to a form to fill out that gives the name of your company, a little, the contact information, scope of work that you provide, and it'll send an email directly to me. And then I'll reach out to you and request a current W-9. And once I get that, then we've got what we call our Manhattan General Provisions document. It's basically the boilerplate of our contract. And we have each sub sign that. It's signed once and kept on file. And then as you're bidding work, if you're successful and we issue a subcontract to you, that subcontract then references that document by date so that it ties the two together. Because the subcontract is more geared towards project specific scope. So it's pretty much that easy. You just send the deal over the website, and then once I get it, I'll reach out to you and get a W-9 and send you the MGP, and I'll also send you an invitation to complete pre-qualification. That goes through a program we use online called TradeTap, and it gives you the opportunity to upload further documentation like your minority participation, if you've got certificates, if you're already approved to bid with the city of Houston, things of that nature, then there's places you can upload all of that where we'll receive it. And let me see if I'm missing anything else. It also will ask you for safety data. We have a very good track record of on safety, and that's a big deal with us here at Manhattan. So we usually request 3 years of EMR. Sometimes if you're a small company, you may not qualify for that. It's based off of your workers' comp premium. So if you only have a few people, that won't preclude you from bidding with us. We just need to know that. Another thing that you need to know is that pre-qualification, when you fill out that form, it'll get evaluated by our risk management department. If you have a contract over $200,000, you have to be approved pre-qual wise. And it's quite a bit of stuff to fill out, but it's very worth it. And then that has to be renewed every 6 months. So if you're, continually bidding and you're going to have more work, then you'll have to renew it each 6 months. That's pretty much it. You just need to go to the website and fill out that form and send it across, and that'll start the process.
Cool. And let's go ahead to the next slide. I'll hit on a few of these additional notes. And Melissa kind of already hinted on it, which is, safety is one of the important criteria in our pre-qual process. So if you have below a 0.8 EMR, that means you're typically just good to go. If you have above a 0.8, that does not preclude you from working with us. It just triggers a step where we want to see a little bit more information from your safety department. And Melissa, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you give me an example of a couple of those forms that we typically ask for?
Absolutely. So if it's above a 0.80, then we're going to ask you for your 3 years of OSHA logs and 3 years of workers' comp and general liability loss runs. And the reason why we want those is because our safety director will take a look at those, and he's looking for any kind of a trend. So let's say, for instance, if it was a glass contractor and they're seeing a host of cut injuries, then he's going to put a safety mitigation plan in place to where he's going to require everybody to wear cut resistant gloves. He's just going to figure out what's going on and what we can do to have someone watching that, or items that can be done to alleviate the risk of having those type of injuries.
Yeah, and that's a great point. With our safety criteria, it's about making sure that we can align our safety programs, because we all know that everyone wants everyone to go home safe at the end of the day, and we're not using our pre-qual review process to exclude people related to safety. It's to figure out how we can team up better and work together as a team to make our job site safe. The other couple bits, and I think we hit on them, but to become pre-qualified, we do need an executed MGP. That's our Manhattan General Provisions. That process kicks off at the same time when you reach out for pre-qual. And then this is might be mildly annoying, but our pre-qualification does expire every 6 months. And we'll likely, if you're being considered on something, we will reach out and ask you to update specific financial information, or maybe the full pull pre-qual packet. With that, we'll hop on to talking a little bit about some of our projects. So in the introduction, Marchette kind of teased at this one, and we spoke about it a little bit, but this is the United Airlines Terminal B redevelopment project. If you've seen it on the news anywhere, you'll hear a number of $2.5 billion thrown around some. That is the total program budget for this project. That cost includes design, it includes construction, but it also includes another general contractor on this project that is doing the central processor. That company is Clark Construction. We share an office with those folks, and they're working on a different side of the project. We're both working in completely different areas from each other. Coming up on this project, we'll have the building concrete. That's the elevated portion of the concrete. That's probably $11 or $12 million worth of concrete. That'll be coming out in April. We have the core and shell, which is the metal panels, the exterior stud framing, waterproofing, all of that stuff. That'll be coming out this summer. And then the interiors will be bidding in the fall of this year. We've taken the site initially. We'll start demolition here in a week or two. So we are active on the job site, and we'll probably be out here for another 36 months. We do have a specific website set up for this project. So if you do want to hear more information about the project, there's a link at the bottom of your screen here, and then the website address spelled out there for you. So you can go there for more information about the project and see packages that we currently have available for bid. And Paul, I'll let you take over on this next slide.
Gladly. Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Bain, as Andrew touched on, pre-construction manager here out of the Houston office of Manhattan. My responsibility is to steward all projects that aren't the airport terminal for Andrew, so he can be focused there 100%. So we've got a handful of folks that work here in the branch office with me, and we're shepherding a number of projects for Manhattan right now. I think it's worth mentioning that Manhattan and Houston trends towards larger construction projects. I'd say $50 million and above, with the sweet spot being somewhere over 100 million. And the reason why I mention that is because it means fewer bidding opportunities, but more substantive opportunities when they come along. I know that some of our competitors in town are bidding projects frequently, month to month, and bidding those projects multiple times. You won't see as much from Manhattan, but the opportunities that are out there are substantive. I think the other thing worth mentioning is that out of these larger projects, we do actively seek opportunities to break down the scopes into more bite-sized pieces in order to make more opportunity available to folks. So one of the things I enjoy very much about working with Manhattan is the proactive effort that Lael and the team take to find opportunities to grow your business, and specifically minority and disadvantaged businesses, because we need to make construction into bite-sized pieces for folks to grow their business. And I think that's really compelling. So if those things are encouraging to you, they're worth saying. A couple of things we will note on. We do have MD Anderson Central Services Center that we're nearing the end of the design process. This is a design build project. We do, I'd say 10 to 15% design build projects out of the Houston office. And this is one. This project is a little over 100 million, and it'll be built right there just inside the 610 loop on the south side of the 610 loop for MD Anderson. This is a large fulfillment warehouse with another 100,000 square feet of specialty space that serves different hospital branches within that space. It is broken into multiple GMPs. So we'll bid the site for award in February. The MEP and steel will be bid off a DD, 100% DD set of drawings also in February. And then the remaining packages for the entire project being bid in June of this coming year. Construction starting in June with the site package, and then it'll run almost 22 months. So there's plenty of work in that. And this will be a project we'll want to break up into multiple pieces. So if this is something that interests you, definitely reach out to me directly. I'll drop my email in the chat so you can reach out to me. We do want to work with you to find opportunities to grow your business and really develop those relationships with the subcontractor market here in Houston. There's more work in Houston than we can build. So we need each and every person that is an up and coming contractor, and large contractors alike. We need relationships to be able to fulfill these things for our clients. Next slide. We're also chasing this is our opportunity. It's in the design process. United Airlines also building a new tech operations facility. Andrew mentioned a smaller facility at the beginning of this conversation. I say smaller teasingly. It houses 3 large airplanes. But this is going to be actually all of the technical operations for United are relocating to Houston. We're putting this facility together for them. It's early in the design process. I'd say it's in the SD phase, schematic design phase. So we're going to see that design continue to develop over the rest of this year. And then you'll start to see bid invitations come out for this project later in the year for construction start, potentially in December, potentially early part of next year. They are trying to move this quickly to bring some of their staff here to Houston. So hopefully we'll see them move quickly. And we estimate it'll be about a 2-year project there as well. I think I've got one more on here to mention. A couple of things we're pursuing. Like I said, big projects. So we've got all our efforts focused on a couple of large ones rather than lots of little ones. But a couple other things that we are chasing that we'd expect to see come online here within the next handful of months. We're chasing some work out at Texas A&M. As Andrew mentioned, we've got core focuses that include sports and aviation, and this is an example. Chasing sports work at Texas A&M, and we're pursuing an RFP for us for Ellis, which is the soccer field and player development facilities. That project is in the 20 million range. And so that may be an opportunity there as well. If we're successful on that, you'll see those opportunities trickle down to you shortly thereafter. And then we are chasing some other things in the Houston area, focused highly in healthcare, also looking at these opportunities in sports that are coming along, and some municipal opportunities as they come up. So we look forward to working with you.
All right, so we'll open it up for the Q&A session.
All righty. Before we get to that, to all of our attendees, let me mention that Miss Lael Ellis dropped links in the chat to register as a vendor, and that one of the links takes you directly to Melissa. So be sure you copy that or screenshot it or do what you need to do there. And then the other link takes you to the United site for opportunities. So again, you have those links in the chat. So please be mindful of those and use those. So now we will get to some of the questions in our chat. And so I'm going to ask Jessica and Deirdre to please start asking Manhattan those questions.
Okay, one question was, how much is the premium level of building connected?
Honestly, not sure. We pay a decent amount of money ourselves for building connected, but that's for the general contractor access. I'm not sure on the subcontractor side. You'd probably have to go to the website and poke around, and I'm not super familiar with the features it offers either.
Okay, all right, thank you. We can do that. Is there any insurance requirements for bidding on your projects?
Gotcha. That is a good question, and Melissa, don't want to put you on the spot, but could you hop in and talk through our standard insurance requirements?
Sure. So our standard requirements are general liability. You need to carry $2 million per occurrence, 2 million aggregate. Auto, you need to carry $1 million. Umbrella requires, hold on one sec. Grab a form. Umbrella, we require 3 million on a per occurrence basis, and then professional and pollution liability 2 million.
Okay, and when you're talking about insurance, could you also cover bonds? Because later.
Sure.
ask about the bond.
So our projects, we typically go one of two ways. We either will do what we call subcontractor default insurance, which is like a big insurance policy that Manhattan purchases, and we bring all the subs in under it. And so it definitely on those, pre-qual is required for any contract above $200,000 and to include you in the SDI or the subcontractor default insurance. Or we go traditional bond, and that would be any contracts that are over $100,000. I think that's soon to go to 2, but right now it's still 100,000. I mean, I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct. You would be required to secure a payment and performance bond from a surety. And that's pretty much either, it's either or.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One person is with a company called GoSafe, full service safety supplier. Would safety orders go through the subcontractors, or you guys spec them in your safety program or bids or whatever? How do they make a connection?
So typical safety supplies go through the subcontractor. For Manhattan, we purchase our PPE at a corporate level typically. There are some job site consumables like caution tape and red tape and a couple other things. But the main bulk of safety supplies go through our subcontractors.
Okay, makes sense. What is your normal average time frame for payment?
So typically on our projects, most general contractors, we work in a pay when paid environment. So we have to get funded by our client at the end of the day. But the normal turn on payment is likely in that 45 to 60 days. Sometimes it can slip out a little bit further. But if someone's just asking me off the street, I'm going to say somewhere in the range of 60 days.
Okay. I know we didn't touch on this, but do you have any job order contracts?
No, not at this time. Some of
Okay.
our other regions do have jock contracts, but we are not working on any here in Houston right now.
Okay, thank you. Think you talked about it, but it may be more comprehensive. It was worded, what documents need to be awarded work for projects over 200K? And I know we
Yeah,
talked
so
about insurance and bonds, but it might be more.
yeah, so if you're bidding on a scope of work that is more than 200K, we need to get you in our pre-qual system, and that's through TradeTap. And so when you're reaching out to Melissa through the links in the chat, that's how you get access to TradeTap. And the system is pretty intuitive. It asks you for all the information, and it will ask you for specific documents that you need to upload. And you'll just drop them in there and that'll get you cooking.
Okay, thank you. Is there a minimum number of years in operation required?
Short answer is no.
No.
The longer answer is, if you're a brand new business that doesn't have a banking relationship, it can sometimes be a little bit tricky to get pre-qualification going. And in that case, are we going to write a firm that's, brand new to the industry, brand new business? Am I going to write that company a $6 million contract right out the door? Probably not. But the great thing about, a lot of our projects is we do have smaller scopes of work. So if you are a new firm, maybe we need to try you out on something that's a $80,000 scope of work or $150,000 scope of work, before we get you on something, pretty large.
Gotcha. And then they were talking about certifications, what specific certifications you're looking for. Do you have to be certified?
Gotcha. So certifications are driven off of project specific requirements. So some of our clients, like Harris County, have a diverse program. Same thing with the city of Houston. And those requirements will typically be in the Division 0 or the Division 1 set of specifications. I'll give you just an example out here on Terminal B. We fall under the city of Houston diversity requirements. So we are looking for, on our program, a 30% and MWSBE certified through the city of Houston. But if you're working on a project for like Texas A&M or UT, that'll be under the HUB program. But also for subcontractors, you don't have to be a certified subcontractor to bid on our work. Many subcontractors are not. So that can be something that we chat with through the bidding process. But yeah, that's a general rundown of typical diversity requirements.
Andrew, let me add something in that a lot of times if you can get your minority participation through the suppliers that you use as well. So there's you don't always necessarily have to be a minority sub yourself to be able to help us reach some of that goal that we have.
Very good. Melissa, this is probably for you. I'm a new business, so how do I get EMR?
As I had stated earlier, the EMR is based off of your workers' comp. And so if you're new, you haven't been in business long enough to generate that, then typically all we're looking for from you would be a letter from your insurance company that states that you're a new company, you haven't generated enough premium yet to qualify for an EMR. And a lot of times our safety director will just have a conversation with you, someone with the company or whatever. So I say it doesn't preclude you from working with us. We just need to know that that's what the deal is, or you hadn't been in, because a lot of times it'll make you generate like a 1.0 right off the bat. And people just freak out when they see that, but it's because you're new and you don't qualify for it yet. So we just need to know what's going on so that he can, have a conversation. Plus, on all of our jobs, we have pre-construction meetings to where they go over all of that type stuff to find out, to make a plan, So you just need to either get your insurance company to send the EMR in, or send a letter stating that you don't qualify for it.
Thank you. Can we receive feedback during the estimate phase? I guess
Gotcha.
bidding
So that-
phase.
So that's a time frame that we don't often provide detailed feedback because honestly, estimate pricing is exactly that, an estimate. So it can sometimes be dangerous to provide feedback because then you start chasing a number and then you find out, like someone else's price was based on a complete different kind of assumption. So as a general rule, we're not providing a ton of feedback for estimates. I will say, I'm looking at the chat, it looks like that might be from a final clean contractor. From that perspective, we might be able to give you some generalized feedback of, we think, final clean's coming in at, X bucks a square foot, or, we can provide a little bit more information on, maybe you're a little out of whack on glass cleaning or different kinds of things. So if you have budgeted something for us recently, reach out to the estimator that you sent that to, and we might be able to get you a little bit more info.
Okie dokie. All righty. I apologize. Looked like I missed someone's question asking Melissa to go over the steps to sign up again.
Yeah, so I'll take it just real quick. There are links in the chat to get to the pre-qual process. So there's a form on our website where it's the trade partners section of our website. You'll fill out that form and that'll get you started on the process.
Okay. We have a few distribution company. Normally, most jobs would consider us as a sub. So how can I get in on these projects?
So if this is fuel distribution, particularly related to equipment, I'm going to guess that's where this is going, whether that be diesel or gas or DEF. That furnishing of fuel is going to go through the subcontractors. So we don't typically operate heavy equipment ourselves. So all of the equipment on the job site would be fueled by the subcontractors directly.
Okay. And then there was a question about your projects. Are there any, ground ready projects right now other than IAH? So I guess, do you put smaller contracts on your bid sites, or it's solicited separately?
Yeah, so anything that we have going on gets published via Building Connected. I would say the projects we covered during the presentation are the main projects we have right now. I alluded to some work with Shell earlier where we do tenant fit out work. I don't have any projects actively bidding at this time for those. So anything that we have does get posted to Building Connected, and yeah, I don't have any of those small TI type projects right now.
And then Andrew, somebody asked, is there a minimum number of years in operation required in order to do business with Manhattan?
Yeah, and I think we hit on that. That was my short answer, no. Longer answer, we'd love to know a little bit more about you before we sign you up if you are a relatively new firm.
Andrew, can I jump in for a moment?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
I want to encourage everybody. We find ourselves at these meetings often. Lael does a wonderful job of keeping us involved with the contractor community here in Houston. And, you know, if you're here bidding, you want to build a long-term relationship with with a handful of GCs. And so the right thing to do is to reach out, introduce yourself, talk about capability, but then stay in relatively regular communication, not, you know, maybe once a week, but if you're not getting good conversation, once a month is an appropriate interval to email me. You know, I want to build a relationship with you, with your firm, talk about what you can do, and find the right opportunity for us to go in together. We need a broad range of contractors. So it in my mind, it extends beyond just sending me a number on when you respond to a building connected bid invite, because I really don't know that number from anyone else's number. And there's really a degree of trust that needs to be built between the general contractor and the subcontractor in terms of assigning you to a job and pinning our success on you. So if you are looking at Manhattan and saying, I think that could be a good fit for me, or I really want to do work with Manhattan, I encourage you to reach out to me, reach out to Lael. Andrew's awfully busy. I wouldn't reach out to him directly. But we want to get you involved in all our projects, and we want to build that relationship, find the right opportunity for you. So rather than just waiting for an invitation on Building Connected, shoot us a note. Say, hey, you know, I'm a small up and coming millwork firm. Met a guy recently at an AMAC event, and we're looking for the right project to dial him in on. And that's how it started. He reached out. He said, hey, I do millwork. I've done these 4 or 5 projects. I'd like to do a job with you. He reaches out to me every little bit. And we're trying to find that right opportunity to let him bid, and then you know, give feedback on the bid when the time comes. Hey, here's how you stack up against the market, and let us help over a period of time help develop you. So that's definitely something I'm interested in. We need to build those relationships as Manhattan here in the market. So that's the right thing to do if you're looking to build a long-term relationship with us, and we'll help you.
Okay,
Thank you so much for that, Paul. That's the exact reason we host our subs and sandwiches, is because we want our clients to build the relationships with our corporate partners, because of course you do business with people you know, like, and trust. And so if there is no relationship, you can't trust it. So again, great advice, Paul. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
right. Okay, so for those in the chat that are talking about their specific businesses, you'll connect with Paul and, you know, get clarification on how you can connect.
Yeah, because he did put his email in the chat as well.
Yes, he did. There still seems to be a little more confusion on insurance requirements, whether you can get the additional coverage after award, or if you're just a vendor, do you have to meet those insurance requirements? So it kind of still seems a little
Yeah, so
vague.
I'll hit the first one I'm looking at in the chat.
Yeah.
The cost for the insurance would need to be included with your bid proposal, but at the time of you submitting a bid, you do not have to have those coverages in place, because we understand they cost money. And so if you're just in the running for it, we don't want you to spend money that you don't need to. So the short answer to that one is yes. And then I saw the next one about insurance. If you're just a vendor, we do require, particularly related to structural steel, you know, you have to have that professional liability insurance. And we might require a couple of our offsite requirements. But as far as the on-site insurance requirements, if you are just a material supplier who is shipping things to the job site, the insurance requirements are reduced.
Okay, thank you. It seems to be a question about a minority vendor. They're participating as a minority vendor. Is the city offering a quick pay schedule for a percentage payback?
Yeah, that is something that we have been trying to work out related to the Terminal B project. At this time, there is not one in place.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, and like you said, you take all the certifications, hub, city, et cetera. So we've
Mhm.
answered a couple of more. Do you do multi-family projects?
Here in Houston, we do not. They do pop up from time to time. Every once in a while, we will look at maybe a high-end condo project, but they're not in our typical wheelhouse.
Okay. And again, Paul did give his contact information for specifics on your business. Um, oh, being a sub, how do we get a list of the primes that have won a contract? Do you require primes to look at their subs that register with your company? Not sure.
So I'll answer it two different ways. The oftentimes we think of primes in terms of us as the general contractor. So if it's a lump sum bid and you're submitting to different primes, it would probably be on you to, reach out to the different firms that you're talking to. I think this might be a little bit differently in that this person might be writing it as more of a sub-tier vendor or a sub-sub. In that
Uh-huh.
case,
Yes.
case, if you are looking at it from a material supplier or a sub-tier level, that is often something that you can reach out to the estimator or Paul or one of us on. So I'll give you a good example. If you might be a ready mix supplier or you're a miscellaneous steel vendor, and you want to know, who the concrete bidders are or who the steel erectors bidding are, please reach out to the estimator on that package and they can provide you with a list of the people we have looking at that project.
Okay. All right, Andrew. I think from what I've heard so far, the best starting point is to do the pre-qualification process.
Yep.
And get your answers right then and there, and then go to Bid Connect to actually participate and make further connections with whoever the estimator is or the contact person, and to get clarification on your specifics of how to participate. And well, you can always, make an appointment with Paul and, give them more detailed information about your company. And then you're in a good position to be able to participate. I think that's what I got out of this. Did I miss anything?
I think you hit the high notes.
Yeah. Wait, let me just say really quick that Joe Walker, while you may be able to take Paul to lunch, you cannot pay his mortgage. Don't get Paul put in jail.
Oh, no. Yeah, we have boundaries.
Right. We like Paul. We want to keep him. Please don't have him in the white collar prison.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you all so much. This was, exactly what we knew it would be. Very engaging. We always have quite a few questions for Manhattan, so we are always delighted to have you all speak to our clients. So thank you so much. We do appreciate you, and we look forward to doing it again.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
All righty. Have a good afternoon.
Happy New Year.